Okay, we're going to start. So hi, everyone, and welcome to Discover the Power of Vyzer. My name is Danielle Greenberg. I'm the Director of Marketing and Business Development at Vyzer, and I'm thrilled to have you join us today as we dive into the latest features and tool of Vyzer, this incredible wealth management platform for LP investors. Today is your opportunity to learn from our expert and ask questions. Joining us today is our co-founder and CEO, Litanya, product Leor Carroll. Litanya is going to be sharing a little bit Vyzer's background story, going over the platform's current functionalities and the best practice to maximize your Vyzer experience. Leor is going to be sharing what we have planned for Vyzer in 2023. Later on, we're going to have a Q&A session. Now, this is your opportunity to ask questions and get advice from the people who actually created and developed this amazing platform. So I encourage you to do so. So I think we're ready to get started. Without further ado, let's welcome Litanya.
Thanks, Danielle. We're all super excited for this webinar. We've been getting ready for this and preparing some really great content and information to get you guys up to speed with the story behind why and how we built Vyzer, what we've built until now, and Leor's going to go over what we have planned for the future. So super excited. Dive in first to what's really, just to give you guys context. Some of the faces here I've seen and we know, and we've already gone through this, but it's important for all of us to be on the same page. So I'm going to give you guys some background about why we built Vyzer. So the story starts with me and Tomer, my co-founder, who we met 12 years ago when we founded our last startup in a totally different, weird industry. I won't dive into that, but just has to do with diamonds. So we sold that company back in 2015, made some money, and from that point, basically have been investing. So the past 8 years, I've been investing in a lot of real estate, private equity, startups, crypto, a bunch of alternative stuff. It's also important to know that both Tomer and I, we don't have a technical background. We're both military guys, 6 years Navy, 6 years Air Force. But we have this business operations background that led us to build our last startup, sell it, and just began to invest. And so as we started to invest in these alternative assets, it became a mess. And these are good problems to have, as you'll understand in a second. But we'd receive emails from fund managers, operators, GPs with updates about an investment. And we're like, I don't even remember how much I invested and when I invested. And then cash flow in and out of our bank accounts. And we had to sort of understand, where is this from? What is that related to? And so we built ourselves a few years ago a piece of software to automate that whole process of managing our own wealth. And while doing this, a bunch of friends around us wanted it as well. And at that point, we're like, wait, there might be a ton of other people like us around the world. Let's research this. And over a few months, we spoke with hundreds of people like us. And at some point decided, well, there's a real problem, a good problem, but a real problem that a lot of people are suffering from. Let's build a startup to solve that problem and to leverage what we built for ourselves to a lot of people like us. And we met with some amazing investors early on and brought them on board. These are the investors behind Vyzer and Moonactive and eToro and just a bunch of really, really amazing people that believe in the problem we're solving and the solution we're bringing to the table. And when I mean solution, basically what we're building or what we've built in a sense is a private investment concierge, or like what we like to call a type of virtual family office. And when we think about a family office, that's the place that you throw everything at. All your investment updates, your investment documents, you link in all your bank accounts. Like they have that one source of truth for you, automate as much as possible for you and give you those insights that you can make better financial decisions from. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dive into the platform itself. And I'm sure you're going to see some new stuff and there's going to be some questions. We're going to have a lot of time for questions. I don't think it's going to take us more than 20 more minutes to sort of go over everything. So it'll give us a lot of time to give you guys a stage and just like shoot away questions that you might have. All right. So let's dive in. Did I forget anything? No?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. By the way, yeah, so just another, so we're VC backed, like we've been running for a little more, almost 2.5 years, and built out various versions of Vyzer. This version was released last week. I don't know if all of you had a chance to take a look to play around with it, but I'm going to treat it as if none of you guys have even seen Vyzer before, and just to give you the rundown of how the platform works. So once you land on Vyzer, you'll see a demo account, basically an account with all the information in it. You'll see your net worth, your assets, your liabilities, your current cash across all your cash accounts, your income from this year or income from previous years, and then a breakdown of all your assets per asset class. But before I dive into each and every asset class, what's important, and this is like probably the main question, is all right, how does the data even reach Vyzer? And so to answer that, there are four main methods. The first method is linking in an investor portal. And Lior's going to dive into this. We're adding more and more investor portals as we move forward over the year, but that's one method to bring in your investments or assets. The second one is pretty straightforward, and you probably do this throughout a lot of other platforms. This is syncing in your bank account or your brokerage account. We link to thousands and thousands of institutions using the top leading aggregators to pull that stuff in a secure and private way. And the third option, which is one of the coolest and what our members really love, is what we call the magic box. Now, the magic box is where the magic happens. It's where you throw in any type of financial document. It can be a spreadsheet with all of your holdings. It can be a K1, it can be an investment statement. Anything goes into the magic box. And then it's translated into data, meaning either creating new assets or updating existing ones that are already in the platform. You can also simply forward emails to the secure import email link, and then everything automatically reaches the magic box as well. So we have members CCing us on all their emails they receive from their operators, from their GPs, and that automatically funnels into Vyzer and is imported into your account in like the securest, most private manner possible. And we can dive into that as well in the Q&A. And all right, the last option, this is pretty straightforward, is the manual approach. For those of you who don't want to use any of those three methods, you can manually add your own stuff. And there's a very straightforward flow for every type of asset class and different attributes for each asset class based on the unique parameters each asset has. But that's sort of like the manual approach. All right, so once we're done adding our stuff, and this is an ongoing process, obviously, because you invest more stuff and throughout your investment life, but you see your, like I said before, your dashboard, all your net worth, assets, liabilities. But let's then dive into an asset class that I love, real estate, and see what that looks like. So the real estate area is sort of every asset class has this layout. It's different based on the parameters that asset class has. In real estate, for example, I'll see all my real estate positions, the performance of my real estate positions, all the contributions, distributions over the years. And then I can even filter this out by just showing me all my real estate holdings that are under the family trust, for example. And then I'll see that, and the same thing goes for that. I can also see all these columns are also customizable. I can say, I don't want to see cash on cash. I just want to see my IRR or other attributes. And then I can dive down even deeper into the asset level and see, all right, this, for example, is a syndication investment where I see my position, the performance of this investment. And the cool thing is seeing also all the historic cash flow to and from this investment. And this is created so when an asset is added, depending on the asset type, you can create what's called a distribution schedule or a capital call schedule. And then that will lay out all your future expectations in terms of cash flow. And when that happens, you'll see that, for example, in January for this investment, I was supposed to receive $2,000 distribution, but that's overdue. So we'll raise a flag, hey, your GP or your operator missed a distribution, you should reach out. Or you linked in your bank account, and then you'll see here in February, we actually identified a transaction in your bank account that is related to this specific holding. And then it's an algorithm that keeps learning based on when you approve it or when you discard it, then we'll keep on learning, and the algorithm will improve and suggesting in the future. And so that creates a sort of touchless type approach to tracking the performance of these investments. And then you can obviously, all your documents are under one place. Just diving into the asset info, this is where you'll see this distribution schedule, for example. So for here, I only expect $24,000 every year, but I can add different years, and every year the different expectations in terms of cash flow and different periods and capital calls and all the nice things around that. I'm not going to dive into that technical aspect yet, unless there are going to be questions at the end. So that's sort of the asset level, the filters, and the net worth, and the overview of my wealth, my assets, liabilities, and asset classes. The next part, which is also pretty cool, is not just looking at what I have today or what I had in the past, but looking at what I'm going to have in the future. And the future, the way we see it at the moment, and we're adding, again, we're going to add this more stuff here, but from a cash flow perspective. So essentially, I'll see my current cash position, but then how my cash will look in the future based on my different expectations for my different holdings. So if I have expectations in terms of distributions, dividends, expectations in terms of capital calls, cost of living, W2 income, and everything is reflected in my cash flow planning area. Then I can click a point in the future, for example, June of 24, and see all the expected transactions for June of 24. And then another cool aspect is I can even add in scenarios. So what happens if I buy a house for $600,000? How will that affect my cash flow? Or commit to $50,000 capital calls every quarter. Just so I can plan ahead, because a lot of our members come to us and say, I mean, we have money, but our CPAs always joke at us that we're cash poor, because when a capital call comes up, they're like, shit, wait, where do I fund this from? And I have to go and get a line of credit. So the idea here is to be able to plan cash flow moving forward. All right, so that's the cash flow area. Another area is reports. And again, Lior's going to dive into this, but this is sort of the place to export data from Vyzer in structured formats. So for example, I can generate a balance sheet for a specific date, for my entities, or for specific holding entity. I can export all of my data if I want to export it all to a CSV or a spreadsheet. We're adding more and more stuff to here as Lior will dive in.
You can also export view on the.
Oh, right, I forgot. Important. Yeah, so for every view here, you can also generate an export of this view. And so you can filter out data, customizable, and then export that as well. Good point. Thanks for the second. All right. All right, now this is probably the most exciting thing we want to talk about on this webinar, because no one has seen this yet. And we're going to roll this out to everyone in the webinar who's a member, and anyone beyond who's seeing this recording can also ask for access to this. And this is what we call Vyzer's community. Now, it's still a work in progress, but we're already launching this out. And the idea here is to be very transparent, anonymous, but transparent with honest and true data. So what that means is we're showing you how much money is totally tracked on Vyzer, what the allocation per net worth is on Vyzer. So what percentage of our users are in which net worth bracket. And then sort of showing you as well, like the asset allocation of everyone. What is the overall allocation to cash, to real estate, managed funds, and all that stuff. But a cool area is if I dive into real estate, for example, which platforms, which operators, which funds are people using to invest in real estate? Now, this for us is mind-blowing, because this is mainly private stuff that no one knows. It's all word of mouth. It's all going in forums, listening to podcasts. But if we can share anonymously information that people can make better decisions based on this, then that's for us amazing. We hope that our community loves this as well. And again, this is going to be evolved into more and more stuff. We want to add discussions so people can interact anonymously with each other based on their investments, based on the funds they're invested in, and to leverage this even more further. Last but not least, it's important to mention, we also have a mobile app, both an iOS and Android app, so you can access this from your phone. It's only open for members, meaning people that use Vyzer to manage their wealth. But it's sort of important to have that sort of ability to see everything you want in your pocket. So that's a quick overview of the platform itself, of this amazing feature that we love. We hope you guys do as well, part of the community. I'm going to hand it over to Lior, and then when we're done with that, we're going to have some questions. Did I miss anything?
Perfect.
All right, cool. Lior,
Thanks, Jan. So first of all, I'm really happy to be here. Before we will dive into our roadmap, the plan for the upcoming features and improvements, I wanted to share with you our prioritization process, how we decide which feature will go into the roadmap and which is not. And the reason I'm doing it, because I believe you have a great opportunity to impact and shape our product. So when we are developing a feature, designing a feature, we have 4 factors that we're trying to analyze. First of all, customer feedback, which is the most important part. So we are trying to gather feedback from any possible channel that we have. Weekly calls with clients, surveys, polls, emails, webinars like this, meetings. We have many features that were evolved and become a real roadmap plans because of those feedbacks that our members providing us. And in general, our clients are very involved with the development of our product, and we work very closely with them. The second part is the second point is a strategic alignment to the company goals, which is quite trivial. The third point that we want to make sure that this specific feature will bring enough value in 2 aspects. One is that it solves fundamental problem or pain of a customer, and the second part that it's the problem is big enough, that it serves a big enough population that this feature is planned to be developed. The fourth aspect is the technical visibility. So basically, we believe that everything is possible. It's just a matter of how fast we can deliver a certain feature. Some features can be delivered in 1 day. Some features can be delivered in 3 to 4 weeks, depends of its size. So the idea here is to balance between all those factors. And the second thing is to make sure that we are reevaluate every feature on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. Eventually, the industry is changing. There's new opportunities. There are many new needs for our customers, and we always want to make sure that we're working on the right feature that gives the value to our clients.
And this is a super important point, yeah, because our biggest challenge as a company is that we want to focus on now. And what Lior just mentioned is exactly to help us do that, because we need to decide what is the most urgent, most important thing that we need to deliver to our members. And everything goes to this funnel that Lior just mentioned from 1 to 4. So cool. Dive into it?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Let's start with the first feature in our roadmap that will be delivered somewhere in the upcoming during this year. So community. So actually, you were the first members who saw this feature. So basically, the idea of the community is to help our clients to get better financial decision with the power of the community. So we want to add more insights, more trends. The second aspect here is that we want to create an infrastructure where our clients will be able to discuss and to elaborate with each other around financial topics, if it's potential deals, if it's a potential platform, sponsors. The idea here is that the power of the community that we want to enhance.
It's important to mention that everything is going to be anonymized, so it's no identifiable information.
Definitely, everything is aggregated. No personal information is exposed. This is true for every feature. Yeah. Report and statement export. So this is a classic feature that were evolved as based on the client's requests. More and more clients join Vyzer and said to us, so our initial perception was, let's generate reports within our platform, within Vyzer. So we understood that our clients want to export their data. So this is why we have currently 2 reports. One is the balance sheet report in a PDF format, and a general report in an Excel file, actually that contains the entire data of the user. The next report will be the personal financial statement, both in PDF and Excel formats. Role management, also a feature that was highly demanded by our clients. So our clients came to us and asked, I want to invite my CPA to have a look at my portfolio. I want to invite my tax advisor before the year is ending to understand what is going on. I want to invite my family member that also will have an access to our portfolio. So this is how this feature is evolved. So it's not only that we will allow to invite additional members. So you also will be able to decide if you will get read permission, write permission. So it will be pretty flexible on who can see what in the platform. Okay, financial institution sync. So eventually, the basic thing that Vyzer does is that we are consolidating all your accounts from different banks into one place, into Vyzer, to get this full visibility. So at the moment, we have an access to around 20,000 different financial institutions and banks in the States and also in some countries in Europe. We want to expand this reach. We want to create a better connectivity to this bank and make it much more stable. And the second thing is the ability to sync to investor portals. So if we want to give a full visibility to our clients in our platform, we need to have an access to investor portals. And this is also part of our upcoming plans.
Just to emphasize what an investor portal is. So like when you invest in these funds, you're going to get a username and password to see your information in those funds' websites. And when you invest in multiple funds, you have multiple username and passwords, and it is a headache to log into each of them. And so we want to solve that by integrating with them as well, so you can link them in, just share you link in your Chase account or your Fidelity account. So yeah, that's what that means.
liquidity and risk. So I see it as a group of feature around the area of insights and trends. Eventually, we want to show our clients how their portfolio is liquid, the risk level of the portfolio. This is also a great feature that is very aligned to the community plans. So you will also be able to see the liquidity and risk of the entire community in different segments. So it's also something in our plans.
At the end of the day, every investment has a liquidity and a risk attribute to it that at the moment we don't address. And the idea is to add that layer as well so we can make better decisions.
Holding entities management. So as you saw from Litan's demo, so we obviously supporting adding multiple holding entities into the platform. You can filter the data by holding entities. You can export reports dedicated to a specific holding entity. But for us, it's not enough. We want to take it to the next level. We want to also support more complex structure of holding entities. We want to support cases when there is a hierarchy between the holding entities, cases when one holding entity holding another holding entity. We want to create like a visual visibility of your entire structure of your holdings. And I also see it as like, if we were saying that we're providing visibility, we also need to provide visibility to your holding entities. It's part of it.
Right.
White label. So this is actually very interesting. This is one of the examples of our certain feature aligned to one of our strategic goals. So investment clubs, RIAs came to us and said, how can we leverage Vyzer to our needs? How we can create partnership with together. So this is how we decided that white label product can be a good solution for those needs, a product that they can customize to new needs. Actually, it's very interesting direction that we're going. Litan, do you want to elaborate more about
Yeah,
it?
so I mean, at the end of the day, when you build a software company that brings value to the people, you want to reach as many people as possible. And when we were approached by these investment clubs and communities and RIAs, they have a lot of these people that experience problems like us among their community members. And so if they can bring value vis-a-vis Vyzer to their community in a white label solution, then that could be a win-win situation for everyone. And so that's something we're going to prioritize also this year to just bring value to more people.
So before I wrap up, so what you saw right now are I would say, the biggest building blocks in the upcoming year, but we have many more features that are planned that you don't see here. So first of all, improvements, bug fixes, whatever it can is part of the plan, but we also have features like return of capital versus return on capital, historical cash flow, the ability to customize your own asset classes that this will be fully customized. It's also in our plans. I mean, don't worry, it's not the only thing that we're planning to do this year.
And these are what product managers call epics. These are the main epics that are going to be addressed during the year. And there are a bunch of other features and functionalities that we're going to be added. So great job, Lior. And again, probably some questions and stuff, but
Thank you, guys. This was great. So we're going to take some questions now. Let's start with, I think there was a first one in the chat. Let's see that.
let's check.
Do you plan on offering a more basic version with less features at a lower price point?
All right, so listen, here's the thing. So this is something that came up obviously over the past few months of people that wanted to use Vyzer. They don't exactly experience all the needs and problems that our main audience is experiencing, but they still want to use Vyzer and it's expensive. So there is an idea of creating a Vyzer Lite version. We don't know yet when that will be released, just because the people who really experience what we bring to the table, the price point we have at the moment is really, really cheap. And the idea is we want to offer a service that costs money but brings a ton of value and add a lot of automation so that that money makes sense and we can still be very sustainable as a business. But that doesn't mean we won't add sort of a light version down the road. So it's definitely something on the table.
Well, we're seeing some great feedback. Love the magic box, the cash flow analysis magic box and linking are outstanding features for the complex investors. So thank you, whoever wrote that. Let's see the next questions. Where I can go to find the actual cash flow at the end of every month. I see the projected, but I can't locate the actual. Let's start with that and then move on to the second question.
Yeah, maybe I can,
Yeah,
I can help you. So, this is actually Todd's question is actually our historical cash flow. This is one of our plans for us today. If you go to your cash flow page, you see only the future. This is correct. For the current month, you will be able to see the actuals of this current month. But if you go on your asset level, you will be able to see.
Let's dive into.
Yeah, let's dive. It's much easier. Yeah. So,
You want to?
right. So this is the cash flow, everyone. So yes, as you see, it's project your future, but it also present the current month. So here you can find the actual events of the current month. Regarding the historical cash flow, you need to go on the asset level for that. If you want to see it month by month, let's dive into real estate. So actually, you can see all those actuals month by month. Another,
You can also on the top see in the hero section,
Yeah.
total income or total for the year, right?
yeah, this is
Not
a year level, and
Yeah.
I think Todd asked
But
about the
but
month
I think
level,
what Todd, yeah, so what Todd meant, and that's what also Lior addressed, it's not an epic, it's a feature that's definitely going to be added in terms of historic cash flow. Because obviously, if we show your cash flow here today, we also want to be able to show you last month and the month before and the month before that. And like we mentioned, it's in our roadmap and just prioritization. There are other things that were more urgent at this point, but that's definitely going to be added in the upcoming months.
Sure.
What was the rest of the question? Let's see. All right. Also, where can I go to revise the distribution schedule or expected events? So the revising your distribution schedule, and this is pretty technical, and Todd, we can take this offline if you want, but I'll dive into this quickly. So if you go down to the asset level, like I showed you, go here in the asset info, and then you can edit. This is the distribution schedule. So at the moment, I expect to receive $24,000 every year from this asset, distributed monthly. Now I can change this to be distributed quarterly, or I can change this to be a different amount, or I can actually add periods, saying between one period to the other, it is a specific amount, and from one period to the next, it's a different amount. And then that is turned into a distribution schedule. And if the info from the magic box, it's not a black box, it's a magic box. A black box is something bad. So
Was it accurate or the schedule changes?
so yeah, so you want to take it?
Sure. So if the schedule changes, again, you can edit it just as Litan showed. And if, again, it is an automated process with the magic box. So if there's any changes that need to be done, you can always let us know. You can always, if you see it at the bottom of your right screen, there's the little chat box. We offer almost 24-hour support, so you can always write there and ask changes, or you can again forward it to the secure email. We try to be as available as possible. Also, if you need any help with understanding where things are at, how to change things, you can always schedule a demo or for any questions with one of our team members. So we're always happy to help.
Yeah, right. Holdings for a brokerage account. So, all right, let's head over that. Just show an example, and this again is going to be
yeah.
improved.
The question was, can I see holdings of a brokerage accounts?
So if I dive into brokerage account, let's just take a test account here. I think we have something connected. All right, Robinhood. And then you'll see a breakdown of your Robinhood account and the holdings. And this is something that will also be improved as we move forward. So you'll be able to break it down, because just like no one's asked this, I think, but some members want to break out each stock and put it in a different asset class, because one is real estate and the other is private company, or not private probably, but some other type of category. And so the idea down the road will be to pull them out right into single stocks and categorize them.
And the cash account.
Yeah,
Also.
you obviously can see the on the class level all your holdings, not per account. So
Right.
it's just
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Exactly. How do I input cash value life insurance into Vyzer so it can be tracked? So we don't have insurance yet as an asset class. How do we deal with life with cash value life insurance? Do we have?
I think probably for right now, the best place would maybe to do it under long-term savings. We also have that asset class.
What's that? Basically, long-term savings, right?
Yeah. So right now there's retirement, children's savings or other, you can put it under there. I think for until we'll develop that asset class, that would be a good place to put it. Okay, who can see my personal info and data? That's a great question. Tom, do you want to see?
Yeah, sure. All right. So it's super important for us to keep everything, like I said at the beginning, super secure and private. No one sees any personal information. With that said, there is a process that when we see the magic box, that the documentation that is sent in or the emails that are sent in are anonymized. And then if it goes through an automation process and sometimes also goes through manual input. The manual input is basically one of our team goes over the documentation that is anonymized, blocked out all the personal information and then inputted for you into the platform. But everything else is like no one has access to your account. No one can see your personal information. All the information is encrypted in our data in our servers that are all located in the US.
AWS.
Yeah, we use AWS, Amazon servers, which is like standard.
Is there a way to compare actual versus expected returns on an investment? Yes, so we can dive into the real estate or the managed funds.
So like I showed here, so you see basically, for example, the performance, the cash on cash performance versus the target, or the IRR versus the target. Just a word about the IRR because it might be confusing. An IRR basically is based on cash flow, and our assumption is to calculate IRR today, we basically take into account that the position is liquidated today, and if it was liquidated today, then this would be the IRR.
Yeah, but the target is basically your
Yeah,
expected.
Dan, maybe you can show how approving an event changed your actuals.
Right,
It
so
will- yeah,
yeah, so let's just approve maybe this event and say, all right, this actually happened. Let's just remember what it was before, right? So this was 12.78 and it went down a little because
This, we can also, for the February one, because we already
Yeah,
passed
well,
through this is after.
yeah, the cash and cash is more interesting.
yeah, and the cash on cash went up, right? It went up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To 10, 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And you can also see the little green circle where the transaction is, that tells you that it's synced and it was found in your bank account.
Exactly. All right. How does Vyzer handle an exited? Oh, so this is a direct message. You guys don't see this, but how does it handle an exited investment? So we have this area in each asset class for archived assets. And these are basically for all the assets that were exited. But you still want to maintain sort of the history of those investments and go back in and check them out. And so that's where that's at. I hope that was what you meant, Ken, but if it wasn't, feel free to clarify.
Is there a way to see a month-by-month balance sheet showing all investment accounts on a page with changes over time? So in the reports, you can generate your balance sheet and you can select a time period that you want. Obviously, you can do it on a monthly basis if that's
Well, but the balance sheet is a snapshot for a specific date and time. So maybe you can clarify exactly what you need, Brandon. There's a way to see a month-by-month balance sheet. You can also unmute yourself, guys, and also if you want to chime in and talk with us, we'd be more than happy. It'll be a lot easier than reading out these small chat messages.
Is there a tutorial for beginners?
So I don't know if you can hear me.
We can.
Cool, great. So yeah, I'm thinking more of like a month over month comparison of the assets. So you have it in chart on a per asset basis, but a lot of software I see and even the spreadsheet I currently use, you'll have January, February, March, or whatever up at the top with all of the accounts on the left and the balances for each month, just so you can more easily compare how they're changing over time and look for any anomalies, etc.
So you're talking about a graph that shows month over month the value change of each of our holdings.
Don't necessarily need to be a graph, even just the numbers,
Yeah.
the balances. Yeah.
That's a good point. I don't think we have that functionality yet in the platform, right?
No, not yet.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like the closest you can get right now is running a report to show it, and you just run it for 1 month, and then you'd run it for another month, and
Yeah,
maybe
that's-
take a
yeah, well,
screenshot and remember it or something
Well,
to see how it's changed.
that sucks. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend doing that. I'm trying to see sort of if I want to look here on this level, I can basically, let's just say I want to see every year the distributions. So this will show me each asset and the distributions for each year. And that's on a distribution level, but you're talking about the value change, right?
That's right.
So I don't think we have that, but that is definitely something we'll write and add to the prioritization, like Lior mentioned, of the roadmap.
I think
Yeah.
I think the info exists for that because we can generate a balance sheet for a specific time in the history.
Oh, shit.
So it means we hold all this information. So we just need to expose it in a nice way in the UI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate that, Brandon. Thanks. Wait, Ken or yeah, no, that was Brandon.
I think how is there a tutorial for beginners setting up? So we have our customer support representative, Adam. He's always available to help you set up your account, or either one of us, if we're available. We're happy to hop on a Zoom call and just help you do that.
There's also an intercom, so there's also a walkthrough, right?
Yeah, it depends on the part of the tool, but yes, there is a tutorial for the cash flow, for the magic box. We have some tours, in-app tours, we have videos. But I think what Danielle said, that we have a customer success who is always available for a conversation. So it's I think the best way to handle it, just to schedule a meeting, and someone from our team will be there.
Yeah, we also have some sort of like Vyzer basics, and have some like FAQs and a whole section for like understanding and learning more about how things work, adding your first item or assets notifications. And we're always adding more and more articles here to give you more sense. And we have, and so for example, in the community section, there's a whole like walkthrough tutorial here. They'll give you a tour of how to use the community. And there's similar like tours throughout the whole product. And so that can give you guys a quick start or a kickstart to starting exploring. But obviously, it's always good just to hop on a Zoom call with one of us, and we're happy to answer any questions and get you guys started.
And we're also working on more videos,
Yeah, more and more videos.
more tutorial videos.
All right, where can you load liabilities like committed capital and not called capital?
Hmm.
All right, so every I think, do you want to take this? Or?
Oh,
All right, so most assets have the ability to add, just like I have distribution schedules, but I can also add committed capital. So I expect future capital calls, so total committed capital. And if I know when this capital should be called, then I'll add it here. If I don't, I just have the total committed capital. One of the things that we're adding in our roadmap in those small features is also undrawn capital in the cash flow projection. So you'll see, all right, this is my current cash position. And this is how it will look, but also add sort of an area where you see, because you don't know always when that capital is going to be called, but you still want to be aware that you still have capital that will be called. And so the idea is to add like a sum of all your undrawn capital in this section over here in the cash flow projection.
And something you can also do now is to generate a scenario with a committed capital call, and that will show you how the effect on your cash position. So that's something that will help you better prepare.
Well, it's good, but that's if you know. But that's if you know. If you know when it's going to be.
Or you can estimate. I mean, if you can estimate, you can also put it in the capital call schedule.
So, you can also if you want, you can also hack it and add a liability. You can just add a loan, like you can just add a loan to the platform. Just say, all right, what the lender is basically who you committed capital to, the loan name, and what the borrowed amount will be, and then you can also define that as a type of undrawn capital.
And you can obviously sync that loan. You can connect that loan to the asset, so you'll see the performance of the asset also based on the terms of the loan.
Yeah, I don't think we show that actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, on every asset that I have, I can basically go in and link in a liability. So I can link a liability to this asset, let's just say this mortgage, and then we'll have, oh, that was a bad mortgage to link, but
yeah.
but then you'll see sort of the net value of that asset.
You can do vice versa.
Yeah, so you see gross or net, and you can see, well, yeah, this is a bad asset then. But anyway.
But you can also, from the liability page, see the asset.
All right, can we get a list of sponsors portals that you can integrate with? Well, yeah, we can share that, but it's pretty straightforward. So when you dive in here, and then any just you type in whatever you want, and it'll populate this list below, and then you can find which assets you have and which we link with. But we're also happy to share that list offline.
Yeah, you can also send us, if you're looking for specific ones, you can also let us know in the intercom or email, and we can check and get back to you on that. Because there's over almost 20,000 different platforms that or banks or investor portals that you can sync with. So
Right.
that might be a long list.
Well, that's a spreadsheet. Spreadsheets are still great, right? They just break. So can we sync with the CrowdStreet portal? I think we can. Let's check for a lie. Let's see if we can. Let's check it out. I might be wrong. Let's check it out. CrowdStreet.
Thank you. Ruth.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, so we can't.
No,
It's
that's
crowded. That's not
yeah.
it. No, so we don't link with CrowdStreet yet. But again, what you can do with CrowdStreet is just like export information and throw it into the magic box. And obviously, when you link in your bank account, all the transactions will automatically be pulled in anyway. And so you don't really need to log into CrowdStreet to track everything. But like Lior mentioned, that's going to be one of those investor portals that we sync into. Is there a way to connect or export to QuickBooks or other accounting softwares?
So I can take it. So you can export your data from QuickBooks in Excel file
Or CSV?
or CSV, yeah. So and just throw it to our magic box, and within 24 to 48 hours, all the data will be placed in Vyzer. So this is the process.
And again, the idea is to create automations for all this stuff. So part of that big epic of adding more functionalities to synced accounts is creating automations to those types of softwares. Because I mean, it's good for now, but we want to create a better experience and process moving forward.
Yeah, I think what is guiding us in general is that we don't want to create a labor of data entry in Vyzer. So we're trying to eliminate it. So every possible asset, every possible Excel that you have, just throw it to us. And again, it's a combination of magic box, automations, and syncs. Yeah.
And many of these platforms have automated export capabilities to your email. And then what you can do is you can even set up a rule that every time you receive an email, just automate that email to the secure import email address, and then it's automated. And if you can export detailed Vyzer data to QuickBooks, well,
Oh, vice versa. Okay.
yeah, well, you can, like we said, you can export data through the reporting side, the reports button here, and then you can either export all your data in a CSV or Excel format or a specific view. And then if QuickBooks can get that, cool. We have not tried that. I don't think we've had anyone try to import into QuickBooks.
So again, they're asking for a certain format to import the data.
Yeah.
And so again, it depends what do you want to export from Vyzer. I guess if it's accounting software, you're looking for a month-to-month distributions. So
Jared, unless you want to like open up your mic and ask, or maybe because we're debating between each other, and I see Kirby's also trying to help on it. But I hope we answered part of it. And if not, you can chime in.
All right, let's see. Does anyone else have any other questions?
All right, cool. I mean, anyway, we're super available, and we're gonna also send this recording afterward.
Yeah, we're gonna share our emails now on the screen so you can see that.
All right, let me go back to that.
Yeah.
All right, back to this.
All right, so thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope you found this webinar informative, engaging, and useful in your investment management journey. Again, like Litan said, if you missed any part, don't worry. We're going to be sending out a recording soon, so keep an eye out on your inbox. I encourage you to follow us on social media for all the Vyzer latest updates, news, tips. We have an Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So we're in a lot of different medias.
And by the way, if any of you guys are going to be at the Best Ever conference in Salt Lake City, we're going to be there next week. If you guys are there, drop by.
Yeah. All right. So, and again, any questions, any concern, our team is always happy to help. So feel free to email us, reach out via intercom. And thank you again for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I hope to see you again in our future webinars. Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Yeah, we're going to send out the recording. Yeah, it'll be sent out to everyone's email. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day.